This is methi chicken. So it's chicken with fenugreek leaf, frozen, fresh and dried as well. We're going to start this dish with chicken Maryland pieces. So most of the time I'm using chicken with the skin and the bone. Now I always have a hard time cutting this, so what I'm going to show you is you need to articulate the joint in the chicken, find out where it is, there we go, and then cut through that space. And so it's like a clean cut. I want all of the gristle and I want all of the intensity that the innards of the chicken bring to the experience of the end meal. Okay. So that done, I'm going to brown up the chicken before I go any further. If you know me by now, you'll know that I love to brown in mustard oil. So a little bit of mustard oil in a heavy based pan with a wide bottom, because it's going to brown much faster if I can get more skin contact with the chicken onto the pan itself. And sometimes speed counts, you know. Onto a medium-high heat, so the stove goes up to 15, I'm putting it on to 12. If you're unfamiliar with mustard oil, you can look to the channel. I have a little bit of information on the What Is playlist, just letting you know what mustard oil is and why we use it. Just want to wait until the oil gets hot and aromatic. And with mustard oil, that's really easy to tell because your eyes will start to sting. Mustard oil has that astringent intensity of onion when it heats. So a little bit of sizzle, probably skin down. Just as much contact as you can. So you're just going to turn the chicken, and you can see when you turn it, if you come in a little bit, it's just got this really nice little golden colour. And some of that's from the mustard oil itself, but some of it's from the browning. Sometimes my husband said that cuddling me is just like cuddling a little chicken curry. I don't know if that's complimentary or not. I think I just smell after cooking all day. So this process isn't about cooking the chicken through, it's about getting flavour into the chicken before you start the cooking process. I'm actually going to leave it at that. So one of the things about browning meat to a really rich glaze, which this isn't, this is a moderate browning, is that the more you brown, the richer the end result. There's an intensity that browning contributes. And sometimes what I'm looking for is a lighter overall effect. And in those cases, I'll reduce the amount of browning time just to ensure that I'm leaving a little bit more space for the spices and that there isn't as much caramelized weight, richness of fat and richness of umami going through the dish. It sounds like a counterintuitive thing to do for someone who loves flavour, and we all know that I love flavour, but heaviness and weight for the sake of it when it comes to flavour isn't really the end result. The end result is to feed yourself in the way you desire to be fed, and if that's a really beautiful tasty dish that feels a little bit lighter for your system, then there are ways to do that without having to reduce spice, for example, or having to use less oil, which I really love those elements. So just reducing the browning goes some way to lightening the dish for me. On evenings like tonight when the sun's still out, it's early spring, it's quite warm, and I feel like eating something with a little bit of spring in its step. Okay, so we're going to keep it a little light. So I'm going to use a light salt. So this is a fine pink salt, a teaspoon. I'm going to use a bitter spice that opens up the structural space. Fenugreek is a bitter spice, but it opens up the cavern of the mouth. And that opening enables the tasting experience, the oral experience, to feel like it has less weight. So to feel lighter, even if the flavours are in there are quite rich. So I'm going to use a half teaspoon. bay leaf for movement. So any dried leaf spice is a spice that provides movement to the dish. So I'm going to use 3 bay leaf, 2 tablespoons of dried fenugreek leaf, Kashmiri methi. Now this has a very beautiful, sweet, ripe, slightly decaying character. There's a little bit of pepper in there as well. There's an intensity, but it also provides movement to the dish as well. So it's going to move some of the other flavour along. Clove, because clove and chicken are a really beautiful natural match. So I'm going to put about 8 clove in there. Chicken as a flavour profile is quite opaque and dense, but clove has this warmth and structural, strong capacity that helps to penetrate through the weight of the chicken flavour and open up space for other spice to express as well. Kashmiri chicken, because Kashmiri chili with my chicken. A teaspoon, which is more than I'd normally add, but a little bit of heat is what I'm looking for. And 1/3 of a teaspoon of fine white pepper. And what that will do is just push forward the heat of that Kashmiri chili without raising it to 5 alarm fire status. It will still stay quite mellow. I'm going to put some fennel, so a teaspoon of fennel, because fennel plays into all of the green that we've got going on in terms of flavour with the bay leaf and the fenugreek dried and the fenugreek fresh. I'm going to put a cassia stick in. But cassia is very sweet and warm and strong, and that's going to aid my chicken today. A little bit of yogurt, a little bit of ghee. So, a tablespoon of ghee. You know what, let's say 2 tablespoons of ghee and 4 tablespoons of yogurt. This is going to ensure that it's a little cool as well as an end flavour profile. And I'm going to cook this down, apply some heat before I add the frozen fenugreek leaf. This is going to go on to a medium-high heat, medium-high being 11 out of a possible 15. I feel like a gymnastics judge. Right, I'm going to taste this. Oh my gosh, well, that's my favourite kind of food. It's relaxed but intense. There's a richness, but all the dried leaf spice gives it so much movement that the richness never sits heavily on the palate. Okay, so this chicken's going to pop in. And then whatever juice is there is going to go on top. And then that's going to get a cup of water, and that is going to cook away like this for about 45 minutes. And the end result will be rich and cohesive. Oh, I nearly forgot the frozen methi, the frozen fenugreek. So let me do that. And it's about 300 grams. Okay. And that's just going to sit like that for a little while. Looking good. This is, it's dark outside now, so this has been, 45 minutes. Oh wow, that's really soft and strong at the same time. There's a lot of that beautiful fenugreek taste, a lot of sweet, bitter. The fenugreek actually serves to cool the spice, so even though it's a warm dish, it doesn't feel rich. It feels cooling. Bitter spice has that quality. It has a really settling quality. With a little bit more caramelization in the chicken itself, the flavour profile would soften out a little bit. But for me, the contrast between the meat and the masala is part of the joy. Methi chicken.